Hello and welcome to another edition of the SportsHeads, The Hurry Up. I'm Andre Dixon, your host, still stuck in the bunker. I am joined by my merry friends, my pals, my amigos. Sam's sporting a new style every week. I'm sure it's hard to keep up with him. Sam Morgan and Daniel Falui. How are you guys?
Yeah, all good, man. All good.
Mate, I'm doing well. Can't complain. Recovered from COVID. I feel like a new man.
Yeah, we kept that one. We kept that one quiet for last week, but Dan decided to try out something a little new and decided to get himself COVID. And he was like, "Oh, I can still be on the show." I was like, "No, bro. I think you can rest."
I didn't sound like that, man. I sounded a lot stronger than that.
He was like, "Oh, I'm all right. I'll be fine." I'm like, "We want viewers, so no." And we're also joined by my bestie, my special guest, as every week. I will say, you are amazing. Please teach these guys a lesson. Hannah Wilkes, Sky Sports NFL. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Dan. I'm so sad you had COVID. I'm glad you're okay, though.
Oh, thank you, Hannah.
It makes me feel a bit bad about how much grief I was going to give you for the Rams beating the Seahawks.
We don't need to have any grief.
I am wearing, in the interest of manifestation, I'm even wearing a vintage conference championships jumper. And I was going to put this on too. Just let me have the moment while
give it to him. He was like watching this thing, and I was texting him during the game. I was just like, "You guys are planning on playing it anytime soon?" So Dan, just before we get started, what happened?
I have no words. I don't know what you want to tell you. Okay, our offense just spotted. Our defense actually played well. Russell played horrible. We've now had to fire our offensive coordinator, which I think I disagree with. Carroll wants to run the ball more. We don't have an offensive line that can actually do that. Mate, we're in shambles, mate. We're in shambles. And Russ...
on the swag.
Russ wasn't a Michelin star chef. He was more of a Mackie D's flip burger guy. That's what he was last night.
He couldn't even find the microwave. Bless him.
I'm loving this. I'm absolutely. You know what? And the thing is that I was actually rooting for the Seahawks. I've got egg on my face because I predicted him last week. I know Sam's going to mention that for sure. He's just waiting to pounce. So unfortunately, fortunately for Hannah, unfortunately for the Seahawks, I'm a more of an offense person because your guy here definitely won that game. Definitely harassed Russ left, right, and center.
Defense wins championships, or at least wildcard games. We'll see how we go from here. But just let me. I figured you can't accuse me of being on the fence this week either if I'm all swagged up. So
yeah. So let's get going. Obviously there's big news with the Eagles. Even though with my ranting last week that I wasn't allowed to have because of these two haters that I have on the show. The powers that be at the Philadelphia Eagles decided that they agreed with me and they saw how my distress, and so they fired Doug Peterson. Now, Sam, do you feel that was the right move to be able to make a change for the Eagles?
I think so, because I think they're going to move on, obviously, from Wentz and have Jalen Hurts. Wentz. Jalen Hurts will now obviously go in there. I think him, along with a new head coach, will probably actually put the Philadelphia Eagles probably a little bit further on the map. I think right now, and it probably is a good time to do it. If you're gonna move on from the QB and there's an opportunity to bring in a new head coach that works with someone like Jalen Hurts, why not? That's how I see it. The guy is different level in terms of moving it in and out of the pocket. He can toss the rock as well. Why not get someone that actually is sort of new school head coach? And quite honestly, Philadelphia Eagles have been going stale for a long time. Ever since Wentz's knee blew out, that staleness expiry date just kept coming and coming. So yeah, it's a good move from me, from my point of view. And the only trouble is right now, as we're going to get onto, is there's so many other vacancies right now. There's going to be a dogfight for that top coach. So
yeah, people have to make a move real quick because obviously the best coach is obviously going to get taken up quickly. Hannah, obviously, I'm proven to be right. I'm just going to say this again, that it was disgraceful, and that's why he got fired, as far as I'm concerned. But what's your take on this?
Well, I don't know if it's just that. I think there are a myriad of factors here. I think you've obviously got the fact that he and the franchise quarterback, Carson Wentz, who they are still paying and committed to paying for a couple of years left, they're paying him a lot of money. So if you've got your franchise quarterback basically saying, I can't be here, I want to trade away, that's a problem. You get the sense that he's lost the locker room. That's a problem. You've got an aging roster and from reports, resistance from Doug Peterson to bring in anyone else in terms of, like an offensive coordinator or a play caller to liven things up. And it also sounds, and I think Troy Aikman has been talking about this week, that Doug Peterson wants Jalen Hurts, but the owner of the Eagles, Jeffrey Lurie, still wants Carson Wentz. And it feels like there's been a big falling out there. And there's a lot of reports as well that Doug Peterson was fed up of being told what to do and not having full control and ownership, having a big say in how things were run. So there's obviously a huge load of issues here. And they have not done themselves any favors, have they? Like you say, a lot of these head coach, the top candidates for head coaching roles that we'll come on to are already going. They're starting their search a week late, which puts them at an immediate disadvantage. So they're in a bit of a mess. I wouldn't be surprised if a big factor of this was the fact that the owner still wants Carson Wentz playing. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't go too far from a Doug Peterson type, because they want Carson Wentz playing as their QB1 for the next year or so. If that's the case, I mean, it's a real change. You think Carson Wentz may still want out. He might decide he's done regardless. So it's an interesting one. And there's, like I said, I love watching Jalen Hurts. I thought he looked great at the back end of last season and really freshens up the Eagles offense. But it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, it seems a bit crazy. Jalen Hurts, you didn't do well enough to be able to keep me in my fantasy football championship, but I digress. What
was a risky move putting him in, I would say.
Well, it was a desperate move because of his quarterback over there. Mr. Russ was not cooking, and they ain't been cooking for a while. And but anyway, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to woosah. I came so close to winning, but I'm going to woosah and move on. So, Dan, what do you think? What do you think?
Mate, it was fundamentally he was going to have to go. Once the moment he lost Carson Wentz, he was going to go, regardless of whether the owner wants him or not. From a financial point of view, Carson Wentz counts, $35 million against the cap next year, and then probably 40 the year after that. So he's at almost 20% against the cap. What are you going to do? Which team's really going to take that contract? Not many teams. And then on top of that as well, the Eagles are as Hannah said, they're projected to be 50 million over the cap for next year. That's just as a projection. That means that, obviously they can turn things around, but that team's aging. And Doug Peterson, I think he was he was a downfall for his own hubris. He was still calling plays as if he had the team that it was the Super Bowl team, and he didn't have the receivers. He didn't have the O-lineman. The defense was stout, but there was injuries rocked up all over. I think it was unfortunate that there was injuries, but Doug Peterson wasn't adaptable to the situation and adaptable to his needs. I still think Carson Wentz is a bona fide quarterback. I do think he could be a franchise quarterback. I just think they need a new head in there. And look, it is what it is. Philly are committed to trying to win more chips, and so as a result, you're seeing what you're seeing right now. And Doug Peterson, for me, you win one Super Bowl and you release a book. I think that's a bit overkill, but
they've got a statue of him as well.
Do we know if he's that good of a coach? Because also as well, you win a Super Bowl. I think it may be a part of it as well, as he thought that perhaps made him invincible. Just because you won a Super Bowl 3 years ago, I think he's the coach, the first coach since the 70s to get fired within 3 or so years of winning a Super Bowl. So it's unusual, but it doesn't make him immune, does it?
Mm-hmm. And he lost his offensive coordinator with Frank Wright that went to Indy, so that's another ball game. But yeah,
it's a very strange move. To me, I as much as I was bitching and moaning about it, I really didn't expect him to be able to be let go. It weren't. Feels like just 2 minutes ago that I was watching guested by Sam with lots of lovely food and beverages. We was watching the Philly special happen, but just quickly before we move on, if you're going to choose, obviously there's a choice between Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz. Sam, who first of all would you like? Who would you go for to lead them into the next, post Doug Peterson era?
If they take someone externally, I go with Jalen Hurts. If almost what Dan was saying, potentially might stay close to home and they might actually bring someone up within the organisation, then you go with Wentz. But for me personally, if I was in charge right now, I'd go Jalen Hurts, start afresh. This is your time. And you're giving Jalen Hurts a little bit of a barrier there with a new head coach to actually then bed into the league. So, yeah, Jalen Hurts for me. Wentz, I know I get it financially is a pain, but move on.
Hannah?
I'm tempted to really agree with Sam there. I think he's so right in what you both said as well. If you're going with someone external for that head coaching job, probably time to move to Hurts and start really looking to the future and changing how you play the game. If you're staying internal, then it's probably going to be Wentz for a little while longer. I'm with Sam. I loved what I saw from Jalen Hurts. I think he's a really exciting quarterback. He's got everything you want from a quarterback in 2021. He can run the ball. His accuracy looked pretty good as well. He didn't look too panicked, I didn't think either. But, when a rookie QB makes his first start, sometimes you think, okay, are they going to be able to read this game? Because it's very different pace, isn't it, in the college football? But I thought he looked pretty comfortable straight away. So personally, I'd be ready to move on with Jalen Hurts. But they've got that aging roster. So it's how much, and I can't remember off the top of my head how they're set for sort of draft picks come this spring. But it's who you can get around him. And in a way, having a slightly older group around him to start with might not be the worst thing, and then bring in those sort of young guys as he progresses. But I think it'll depend in which way they go on the head coach front.
Dan?
I'm disagreeing from both you guys. I'm sticking with Carson Wentz. I think he's proven throughout the season he can do it. Obviously, look, this season right now wasn't great. Last season, he took that team, basically filled the deck chairs and got them to the playoffs. I think for me, everyone's going on about Jalen Hurts. Yes, he can run, but when you look at his passing accuracy, even when against the Cowboys, against the Cardinals, is 54, 53% respectively. Washington, I know he got taken out of the game, but at that point he was at 33% passing completions. He's had more he's got the same number of interceptions to touchdown ratios, 4-3. So for me, is he a bona fide starter in the NFL? No, I don't think so. I think for me, I'm taking Carson Wentz. I still don't know what I'll get with Jalen Hurts. I just need to see more before I can say, yes, move on with him.
That's an interesting take. I think a lot of people are rating Hurts for his mobility a bit more, favorably than Wentz. But obviously Wentz is still, he's not exactly, trash. But let's just see where they go with this one. I know that Dan's going to be biased when it comes to this particular quarterback that we're talking about here. It's one of his favorites. So we're talking about Deshaun Watson. Obviously, there's been upheaval. You know where I was going with that. There's been upheaval with the Texans. It seems like which was once a few seasons ago looked like a really exciting franchise. Obviously when they got Deshaun Watson in, a lot of pieces around him that he had, to be able to assist him to win. Unfortunately, I think he's lost a lineman. Obviously, lost star wide receiver, and then obviously, just recently, it's been reported that he was told that he was going to be included in some of the decisions coaching wise, and then they hadn't actually contacted him or even contacted the coach that he was looking at wanting to work with. So there's literally, it looks like there's a 50 pence flip of a coin between him staying and going. But I would say, I'm going to ask. I'll start off with you, Dan, because he's your favorite. What do you think is going to happen with this Deshaun Watson situation? Do they trade him? Who for? What do you think is going to happen?
I've got to be a bit careful. Got to be a bit careful what I say here. But look, for me, I think it's in the best interest for Deshaun to take a stand. The new CBA makes it very hard for players to sort of, boycott the season and whatnot. But Deshaun needs to leave. The Texans Houston's organization, since he's gotten there, have swapped out Dwayne Brown to Seattle for garbage change, and then now have to swap out 2 first rounds to get Laramie Tunsil in. It makes no sense to get a premier left tackle, leave him out because he said a comment which wasn't really wasn't really bad. It was a nothing comment to the owner, and then boom, now comes in. You give the D hop out. It's just really poor management from Texans, and I don't understand what the Texans' fascination with New England is. Track record has proven anyone that's coming out of New England's system hasn't done well. Maybe Brian Flores is the exception, but everyone else hasn't. So why are you still getting Jack Easterby, now Nick Caserio, still stuck on it, Bill O'Brien, and he's been a terrible GM. They just don't know how to run a franchise football team. And I think you're seeing it now. And the fact that JJ Watt has had to apologize to Deshaun and it was caught on camera, it just shows everything. You can't tell someone, I'm going to get you involved and then not do anything. For me, for Deshaun, I want to see him in Miami because I think he will do well. I think with the organization and what they stand for and what they do in the community, I think Deshaun will like that. I think that's for me as a football fan. As a fan of Deshaun, I think the best fit would probably be 49ers, just because I think he will win the MVP within 2 years at the 49ers because of what Kyle Shanahan can do. But I don't want to see him in that division. So I'm going to say Miami.
Nor do they.
No. So I'm going to say Miami because if he goes 49ers, book it right now. It's a wrap. That NFC, you have to go through Deshaun. It's going to be what Joe Montana is.
Sam, 49ers, are looking a nice option for Deshaun Watson. What say you, sir?
You know what? No, please don't let that happen. I can see I can see the thinking. I can see why, but yeah, no one wants that on this chat right now, other than you, Gray, so you can stir the pot every week. I agree, though, Dan. I think he needs to go. What has been happening there is just a catastrophe of mess ups from top to bottom. Can't lie. Obviously, as I always said, lovely that we got D-Hop there, but there's decisions on and off the field are not great. Why you didn't back him? Why give the promise in the first place to say you're going to be involved in bringing in a coach or the GM or whatever it may be? Any promise you give to a player of that stature, you better follow through. Because as soon as they start talking, the noise is a lot louder than anyone else chatting. And that's what's now happened. And now we're obviously discussing it. Where I think what they should do, though, the Texans, is actually kind of use this now to play a bit smart with any trade that they do. They should, for me, if they're going to rebuild and do something, try and use this now to trade and trade well for the first time ever. If they can do it, by the way, trade and trade well. Look at the age. I'd be looking at somewhere like, obviously I can't talk about cap space, but someone like the Steelers right now, who have got an aging Big Ben, moving on. For Deshaun, great move. Some good weapons there. And then obviously, I think it works for both parties because they could probably take a couple of weapons. They're not going to get the picks necessarily just because of where the Steelers are. But I think for both parties or everyone involved, it works quite well. And I'm only saying that because I don't want him anywhere near. I'm
like, he's going all around the houses because
I think the Steelers, you're not going to get the picks high enough to get a decent QB for a while. You're going to have to get someone established. Deshaun would settle in quite well there, personally. And I just think as I say, that's where it works for me. And yeah, please, hopefully, Steelers, you are watching this. Take him.
Hannah, what say you?
Well, I'm going to terrify everyone on this podcast and say that Steve Smith on ESPN, who isn't afraid of a bold opinion, said this week that he'd been told by a well-placed source that the Los Angeles Rams wouldn't rule out trading Goff and picks for Deshaun Watson. Now, that is something crazy, like out of my own personal dreams. But still, let's just throw that out there as a comment. I think this is really
so bold.
It is a bold shout, but hey, got to manifest the dreams, right? I have to say, I think it shows what kind of a person Deshaun Watson is and his values, that he is very much sort of taking a stand and saying, these are the things I'm not happy about. And I mean, also, come on, Bill O'Brien did a number on the Texans. You trade away Jadeveon Clowney, you trade away DeAndre Hopkins, you give away your first round draft picks, and you leave them with a ginormous hole in terms of salary cap. And I think we saw that if you've seen the footage of JJ Watt saying to Deshaun Watson in their last game of the season, I'm sorry we wasted one of your years. Look at where that team was this time last year, even. And definitely the year before, they had a great playoff run. So I think it's really challenging. I think it's really interesting. I think the most likely place for him to go is either the Dolphins or the 49ers, and I'm with you guys. I don't want to see him at the 49ers because they would be a ridiculously good football team with him there.
Why the Dolphins, guys? Because I know obviously we talked about Tua for some time. So why the
thing, right? It's trade for trade, and it's who's got what. And if you look at sort of the business side of it, I guess it's that the Texans could take Tua. Doesn't cost them anything salary cap wise because he's still on his rookie deal, and
you get a first round pick.
For a head coach coming in, you've still got the opportunity to rebuild around a good talented QB, and there's a future there. So I guess that's where that's come from, and like Dan said as well, Watson would fit in quite well in that sort of how Miami are starting to play. But yeah, it's a mess. It really is. And I'm with Dan. I love Deshaun Watson. I love watching him play. And every single week this year, I'm sure I've said this, when I watch Texans highlights, every note I make is Deshaun Watson deserves better. Deshaun Watson deserves better. And we just want to see him be able to fulfill his talent. Because, I mean, he led the league in passing yards this season. As he was putting up MVP level numbers on a team that was playing terribly and losing games and didn't make the playoffs. So, yeah, for his sake, I hope he lands somewhere good and gets to sort of fulfill his potential, which makes me sound like a teacher, but you know.
I mean, he was MVP effectively. He was MVP. You take him out of the Texans, they're nothing.
Yeah,
so
put him anywhere else.
My pick was right for MVP for the year, but you know.
Yeah, and Bang goes our interview with the Texans in any form of way at all, when they watch this at all. Now, I personally, just because for the fun of it and for the entertainment for me for next season as well, watching you guys all sweat, I'm going to put in the universe that he goes to the 49ers. You know, I think that would be you guys already got an entertaining conference, but my Lord, it would just mean that the Cardinals have no chance of qualifying for the playoffs in any form of way, and that makes me happy. So let's move on to obviously we alluded a little while ago to coaching positions are open now. As we are speaking now, and you guys will tell me, I'm very sure if I'm wrong, the open positions are the Jaguars, Chargers, Jets, Texans, Falcons, Lions, and the Eagles. So those are. Am I wrong? Have I missed one?
Although the Jags of Urban Meyer.
Oh, Urban Meyer. See, I told you they'd tell me. This is moving around, but from the ones.
Niners is going to the Jets, and reportedly the Falcons have now offered their job to Arthur Smith, the Titans offensive coordinator.
Oh, see, welcome to Sports Center here. So you know, I'm going to start off with you, Hannah. Now that you've embarrassed me, tell us, like, you know, who from the actual positions that are left, the franchises that are left, which is the most attractive for you?
So, by my count, it's Detroit, the Texans, the Chargers, and the Eagles.
Okay.
And for me, without a shadow of a doubt, give me the Chargers job, please. You've got Justin Herbert, who I think we all enjoyed watching this season and is excited every Chargers fan. It's a rare situation, isn't it, when he didn't win for his first few games as a starter, but we were talking about him and the Chargers as though they had when we discussed those games because of how he was playing and because of what he was doing for that Chargers team. They've got a terrible O-line. He made them look good. Their defense can't do much. It didn't matter because he can throw and run and move and buy time. And I'm just looking at the cap space as well. Chargers have got $22 million cap space. So that gives you a fair bit of wiggle room to start rebuilding. So yeah, I would definitely take them because they're a young team as well. If you look at the Chargers team, they've got a lot of young players coming through. So I think if you bring someone in with the sort of right, you can make the right trade moves and sign the right players, and if you get a good scouting system in place, I think if you go into the Chargers now, 3-4 years down the line, maybe sooner, I think you'll be with a team that's very much in contention.
Mr. Morgan, what say you?
I can't disagree with that. Just the weapons that are obviously there, the Chargers, yes, they're in a great place. I'll tell you one place I wouldn't want to go, and that's Detroit. I would need. That is one place, not for me. I can't. That's a long. Do you know what? That's a young coach's job. If you're going to take over for me at the Lions, you're going to be breaking your back to get that in a good place. But it's a good project. If I'm going to be different to Hannah, I do like the idea of the Falcons. I'm not going to lie. I think that would have been actually a good job to take. I think that's quite a bold move that they've gone there with defensive coach of the Titans. And let's see how he gets on without Derrick Henry, because anyone can be a good offensive coach with him in your lineup.
Well, I mean, we saw how they got on without Derrick Henry at the weekend when the Bills shut him down. So not well would be my answer. Yeah,
I think the Falcons, for me, I would have gone defense. Jesus, get someone in that can sort that defense out, because that's embarrassing for me. I don't think the offense bit was a problem down there. I think they needed to sort that out sharpish. So that's anyone's main role for me if they go in there. But yeah, the Chargers definitely nice place to be as well with the sunshine.
Not bad. Not
and their uniforms are always great. They always look great on the field.
That is definitely one of the ones that I'm missing here. They've got one of the nicest uniforms. Dan,
mate, I'm going to have to be. I can't really disagree with Sam and Hannah in that respect. In that it is the Chargers that. Great, a QB is always what you need in the league, and when you've got a QB like Justin Herbert, you're sort of set for life. Defensively, they need to sort of sort out certain contracts on that team, but overall, I think it's a great team. Now, just for the sake of being different, I'm gonna go completely left wild. I know Sam said he wouldn't take this job. I actually would say Detroit isn't a bad shout. The reason being, and I'll explain it, is realistically speaking, we don't know what Chicago are going to do with their QB situation. And Mitch Trubisky is a joke as a QB, personally. Sorry. So for me, it's more of a situation of, are they going to draft? Who are they going to get? We don't know. It's uncertain. Aaron Rodgers has got maybe 2-3 years left at peak Aaron Rodgers before he starts to decline. He's 38, Dre. Come on. 37.
You hold on now.
He's got 3.
Drew Brees, and tell us that again.
Yeah. Mate, I'm not gonna lie to you. Drew Brees has not looked the same Drew Brees of the last couple of seasons. He has looked his age. I'm just saying. I said 3 years of peak Aaron. It doesn't mean he still can't perform well, but 3 years. And then you got the Vikings and you got Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins for me, So for me, I think actually Detroit, if they can sort out certain things, Matt Stafford is a good QB. Get some weapons, and they've now hired, the Rams, former Rams sort of scouting director. So I think, the Rams were able to draft well. So obviously he's had an eye for talent. I think you can get an eye for talent. They've under the cap space. You really just got Aaron Rodgers to contend with for 2-3 years, and I think Matt Stafford can do something against that to get to the playoffs. It's not a bad shout. It's not as bad as I think some people are making out to be. The situation could be worse, and I think the Lions might do something next year.
It's definitely I can't even comment now because there's just been jobs given left, right, and center in between my sentences. So I will wait and see, and we will obviously chat about when they'll probably all be filled before the end of next week, definitely for sure. But let's go on to the games tomorrow, which I'm excited about because we are gonna. See who's the best of the best now. It's getting down. Well, it's actually making me a bit sad as well because you're putting it back on. Yeah, you're talking that talk. I'm going to raise up now because the first game, obviously, I was just going to say, it's making me a bit sad because we're getting nearer to the end of the season now. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy this because tomorrow I'm definitely going to be enjoying seeing the Rams and the Packers go at it. Now, I'll leave Hannah to last because she's clearly biased, and so am I. So I will start off with Sam. What chance do you think the Packers have? Sorry, what chance do you feel that the Rams have against the Packers at Lambeau?
At Lambeau, not as much as they would have, obviously playing on their home turf at this point. I just think at Lambeau Field with Aaron Rodgers. Do you know what this comes down to me? Is Jalen Ramsey and Davante Adams. That's what it's going to come down to, I think, for me personally. Because that Rams defense, they did beat up Russ. I do feel for him. He's in a heap somewhere with a saucepan, I think, still. I think they picked him up.
Dan doesn't recover from that.
But look, how many times have we seen, whether it's been us, or other people look at sort of Aaron, and some people would doubt him at, like you say, his age or whatever he always comes up with the goods. And yeah, I can see you sporting it. Keep going, and I will go back to the Rams. But for me, I think the Packers do take this. I think the Cheeseheads will be quite happy this week. I think this will probably actually fall perfectly with what you said earlier, actually, Hannah, because I think they do bail out, and this is probably when they move on from Goff. Because I heard he's starting, and I still don't. He still, to me, looks a bit banged up. And I heard he's starting this week, and yeah, I don't think
they've got a choice, haven't they? Because they haven't activated the reserve.
Well, that's the other thing is
well.
that the Rams have limped into this next match. There was a lot of injuries. I mean, obviously you saw Donald. I mean, Donald was there. His ribs, I think, got beat him up as well. So we'll see how long he's actually got. That's not a nice injury to have. So yeah, I think they're gonna limp back home, and their season will be done come the end of this week.
You sound like you're enjoying that bit. That's for sure. This is the divisional. I feel it.
Enjoy my pain.
Dan, what do you think? Do they stand a chance against that bad man?
Look, I'm going to be completely neutral here.
Here we go.
I'm going to be Aaron Rodgers against sort of the top 12 pass defenses. They're 1-2, the Packers. Against everyone else, they're 12-1. So I just want to put that out there. That being said, I do worry about the injuries on the Rams. Cooper Kupp came out with a knee. That doesn't look great. Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald, but I'm not going to lie to you, rib is still a rib injury. And you then now get 300-pound men on you. As good as Aaron Donald is, he's still human in that respect. So do I think he's going to be as efficient? No. But then again, you've also got lockdown corners, and their corners are good, but Devontae Adams can seem to be open. So it's going to be a big question of sort of how the Rams stack up when it comes to just their health, because Goff, if he starts, he's basically going to be very limited to throw the ball. So, again, is there all the other QB going to, is it Woodford, I think? Is he going to do well against an experienced team? We'll see. So I'm a bit, I think the Packers will edge it, but I think it's going to be a closer game than people think.
So, Hannah, we meet again.
You're a Giants fan.
You know I love Aaron Rodgers. You know this. So what chance do you feel you've got?
So here's the thing. I think this could be the whole defense wins championships. This is the test of that whole adage, isn't it, really? Goff, yeah. So this is the thing. So the defense, I think, is going to do a job. Aaron Donald, I'm sorry, talk about it all you want. Bit of rib cartilage, not an issue. The man is superhuman. He said in a press conference yesterday, I'm not going to talk about my ribs. My ribs are fine. It was a bit sore. No, it's not. He'll plow on. And I think as well, that Rams secondary led by Jalen Ramsey is going to make life really difficult for Aaron Rodgers, because they can break up long bombs all day. So I think the defense will do a job and will limit them. However, Aaron Rodgers will always find a way, because he is Aaron Rodgers and he's got Devontae Adams and he's playing how he's playing. And I don't think that the Rams offense has enough firepower to keep up. And John Wolford is out, so it has to be Goff, which, with a thumb that's still probably slightly hanging off, not ideal. That said, I also kind of think maybe last week was a real, but I hope it was a moment for Jared Goff, because he's someone that I have always sort of backed up, and this season I've kind of fell off the wagon a little bit, and I loved how John Wolford played against the Cardinals. Sorry. But I wonder if last week was maybe a bit of like a wake up, because he got the job done without his thumb, being where it was meant to be. And that says quite a lot, I think, about just grit more than anything. I think it's going to come down a lot to the run game as well. Cam Akers was unstoppable against Seattle, 176 yards from scrimmage. Seattle had no answers for him. So I think it's going to really come down to him and Aaron Jones and who gets stopped on the run game. And the Rams are going to really rely on that run game with Jared Goff. That's how they play anyway, particularly when he's not fully healthy in the thumb. So yeah, I see it that Rams defense will do a job. It's whether the Rams take their offensive opportunities, because any glimmer of space, Aaron Rodgers is going to make something happen. It's how I was this time last week. My heart says Rams, my head says Packers, and I hope my head is wrong.
Yeah, we'll have to. Well, I mean, to be honest, without me being any form of bias at all towards my lovely, amazing favorite quarterback ever, Aaron Rodgers, what I do worry about is because actually you guys got my favorite coach, Sean McVay, and I think that he's a person that is a tactician supreme. So I feel that last week, where I obviously went with the Seahawks because their offense was ridiculous majority of the season, I feel that he shut that down in a ridiculous way, and I think that from what I know, Dan can tell me if I'm wrong, but the Rams run game is going to cause Packers, some type of problems. I think so. I think it's going to be a closer game than everyone kind of thinks.
And don't forget as well, Matt LaFleur has come out of the Sean McVay coaching tree. So there is that element to this as well. And in Brandon Staley, the Rams defensive coordinator, he's being interviewed when the Rams are no longer in the playoffs. So hopefully come February for head coaching positions. So they know what they're doing defensively and they know Matt LaFleur really well. So there is all these sort of added elements. I think it's going to be a close game. I literally think it will come down to who just takes any of those chances.
Put it this way, whoever's leading halftime is winning the game. Sean McVay is undefeated when leading halftime. It's a ridiculous stat, but he's undefeated.
It has to be broken sometime. But yeah, can't come from behind.
It's Sunday.
Yeah, we'll have to see with that one. Let's move on to the other games, as we spent so long talking about this amazing matchup, between the Packers and Rams. But let's move on to the Bills and Ravens. I'll start off with you, Hannah. Who have you got?
This one, I think, is probably the tastiest matchup of the weekend because both of these teams, watching them last week, look great. The Ravens have had a torrid season, and they've found their form at the right time. And their second half of that game as well, they were playing more like the Ravens. They were running the ball. Lamar Jackson was keeping his options and doing what he needed to do at every play, and they were trusting him. And also, I think he kind of started to trust his own passes a little bit more in the first half. He wasn't really confidently throwing the ball, but in the second half, he looked more like the MVP Lamar Jackson. But then this Bills team, I love this Bills team. I think they're great. I think Josh Allen is fantastic, and I think their offense is just fun to watch. So I'm leaning to the Bills on this one, partly because of, and this is not to say the Ravens don't have this, but I love what you're seeing in terms of sort of unity and camaraderie amongst this Bills team. And there is that sense of belief and optimism, and they are just having fun. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting one. And because neither of these defenses, I think, are particularly hot right now. And the Bills defense has got to stop the Ravens run game. I think that will be where the challenge lies. I think it's going to be really entertaining, but I think the Bills will just edge it. And
Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, this isn't an easy one to call. I mean, I didn't actually think the Ravens would have been here, to be honest. I thought they would have lost last week. But then watching Lamar do it, I thought it was a 48-yard run for the touchdown last week. Like you said, it's that, as I say, championships, it doesn't matter what sport, it's the form. And if you hit form at the right time, that's the place to do it. It's the business end. Saying that, I'd like the Bills to win. And I think that the Bills are still going in with the mindset they have literally nothing to lose. Because if they bail out this week, everyone will be like, it was a great season. They don't need to win. Whereas I think the Ravens need to win. They've got a lot of people there looking at them saying that they need to progress and be in these latter stages. That I think that might just take its toll this week against the Bills. And I mean, like you, Hannah, and I'm sure everyone else on here has enjoyed watching the Bills this year. It has actually been good to watch. But yeah, closer than I think this one. I will go with the Bills though. But
good man. Dan, who you got?
I'm going with the Ravens just because of the fact that the Bills' run defense isn't great. The Ravens run the ball solidly. They've been running the ball really well. And what the Ravens can do running the ball is actually probably scary. I've never seen any other team do it. They can get at will 200-300 yards like that, just running the ball. And they're so efficient in that. It's going to take a humongous, humongous effort from the defense from the Bills to stop it. So Ravens for me.
I'm definitely gonna go with the Bills. Kevin's old team, Phoebe Schecter's team. You know, come on, go Bills Mafia. But let's get to this game that I've been waiting for a long time, because, you know, yet again, Baker Mayfield, you know, got himself out of a pickle again, and he's still in the playoffs, which is really upsetting to me. I'm waiting for him to lose this one, and this one here, I'm going to put my lock on, because I know that he's going to lose this one. So obviously he's coming up against the almighty Kansas City Chiefs, current Super Bowl champions. So I'm gonna start off with Sam, because he knows my disdain towards the Browns. Who have you got on this one?
Oh, you can't look past the Chiefs. I'm sorry, right now you can't. This should be a pretty easy one. I hate being on your side, Drake. I don't know what it is. So every part of me wants to say the Browns. I cannot do it. The Chiefs are just too strong for me on offensively, certainly for this, and the defense obviously isn't that bad either. I think all round the Chiefs will be too good for the Browns in this one.
Dan?
Chiefs, mate. Andy Reid's record off a bye is insane. He's got a very strong winning record off the bye. Offensively, no one's really been able to stop Kelsey and Cheetah over there. And Patrick Mahomes can get it going. Hopefully, can get it going. The Browns are predicated on a run, and if they can stop the run, the Browns' season's over. So I'm putting the Chiefs.
Hannah, full house.
Well, Dan, you're bang on. Andy Reid's 25-5 off the bye, which is just insane. Also, Drake, can I just before I did you say Baker Mayfield got himself out of a pickle when the Browns scored 28 points in the first quarter? Is that how?
You know what it is? It's because of that damn Juju Smith Corvette, you know, and damn TikTok. I wish I'd banned that damn thing. Anyway, carry on.
Anyway, look, I mean, I can't see past the Chiefs on this one. I hope the Browns put up a fight, and I think we can't underestimate just how good they're going to be feeling after last week, and that will carry them some way. So I hope it's a competitive game. I don't think the Chiefs' defense are as good as they've been in years gone by, so I think the Browns are going to put up some points. A glimmer of hope, perhaps, for the Browns is that they're really good at pressuring a QB without blitzing, and Patrick Mahomes is great against the blitz, not so great under pressure. So if they can pressure him without the blitz, there's a way to maybe disrupt the Chiefs there, but I can't see them being able to really stop them, because this Chiefs team, my goodness, just look at what they did in the Super Bowl last year. They could be 28-0 down in the fourth quarter and still come back for a win. So yeah, can't see past the Chiefs.
So it's all agreed that all rooted against Baker, and I'm loving it.
No.
Baker.
So let's move on to the last game of the weekend. Big game. Obviously, a beat down the last time for the Bucks. It's the Saints versus the Buccaneers. I will start off with Dan. Who have you got for this one, considering last time's beat down that the Bucks got?
I want to say the Saints. My gut wants to say the Saints, but it's very hard to beat a division rival 3 times in this season. And Tom Brady's 5-0 after the bye. The offense is not starting to click. AB starting to click. I'm going to say the Bucs. I'm going to be out there and just say the Bucs. My gut saying Saints, but I'm just going to go Bucs.
Dan? Oh, sorry, Sam. Who have you got?
I'm actually going with the Saints, because I actually have the Saints to win the whole thing. And that's in my Super Bowl challenge. That's what I had, and I'm going to stick with it on that. I do hope that all nursing homes and have got all of their sponsorship ready for these two. I've seen the memes. I've seen everything. It's been awesome. But yeah, this is vintage football, literally. So we're gonna see. Although I'll tell you what Daniel says is bang on. You know, everything is clicking over there at the Bucs right now. But that defense of the Saints, I think, will be able to put up a good enough fight for me on this one. And yeah, Drew Brees isn't looking the same Drew Brees. However, the guy is still magic. And I think it's going to come down to a bit of magic this week. And I think, yeah, the Saints get it done.
Hannah, who have you got?
I'm going to repeat my favourite stat that these two quarterbacks, it's Drew Brees' birthday today, have a combined age of 85 on Sunday. Which makes me think in AFC, Baker Mayfield at 25 years old is the oldest quarterback. It's just sensational. Okay, when I did my Super Bowl bracket for overtime, I actually have Tampa getting to the NFC Championship game and actually getting to the Super Bowl. And I've ummed and ahed on this week, but I'm going with Tampa because it's all very well saying, you know, Saints have beat them twice and they played terribly last time they met. That was week 9. And if you look at what Tom Brady does throughout a season, November Tom Brady, December, January, February Tom Brady, he knows how to time it right. And you look at how this offense is playing now. You think back in week 9, that was when Bruce Arians came out and publicly criticized Tom Brady. He was missing Mike Evans downfield. It was a mess. He had just couldn't get the long passes in. Bringing Antonio Brown, gets to know Mike Evans, Chris Godwin a bit better. Got Rob Gronkowski on the field as well. That offense is firing on all cylinders. I think it's going to be a real battle. I think the Saints probably more a complete team because, like you said, their defense looks good too, and their offense has come back healthy at the right time. But I also just think it would be peak Tom Brady to go to a different team after 20 years with the Patriots and play in a home Super Bowl for the first time ever that no one's ever done before. So yeah, I've got Tampa Bay on this one, but mostly I think this one's just going to be great, and I can't wait to watch it.
I'm hoping that Tampa Bay can get through only because I want Aaron Rodgers to be able to have his revenge game against Tom Brady to settle who is the best. Championships aside, skills. That's all that matters. You all know who is. Anyway, we've come to another end of an exciting week, and we, although I'm excited about these games, it's another step towards the end of the season, which I'm gonna have to pick another sport as well to watch. I'm looking at hockey, ice hockey now.
Well, Jerry, I was going to suggest netball's coming back.
Yes, I would look into that definitely. I'm definitely not getting the wrath of your fans in any form of way. So yeah, I definitely. You give me a team to root for.
And fingers crossed we'll have the Super League back not too far down the road. So.
Well, you give me a team to root for. They go up here, and then I root for them. Sure. How about that? Deal?
Fun.
All right. Okay. Well, I don't know what's happened with Dan, but
I'm still here.
Oh, he's still here. He's been shy with his screen. Yeah, we come to another end of the show. Please, obviously, check out all of our American sports content on AltSport and AltSport on Twitter, Instagram, so forth. Obviously, bother Hannah if you disagree with any of her choices, and then definitely disagree with Sam's. Just give him hell anyway, and Dan too. So we come to another end of the week. I will see you next week with Hannah, with Sam, with Dan when he's not hiding his screen. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Yes.